we begin with the four great bodhisattva vows. Sentient beings are numberless. We vow to help them all. Delusions are countless. We vow to see through them all. Opportunities to awaken are infinite. We vow to embrace them all. The Buddha way is endless. We vow to embody it. So we will begin as we always do with our 15 minutes of seated meditation. So we'll recite the Gatha on opening the sutras. This Dharma, incomparably profound and minutely subtle, is rarely encountered, even in hundreds of thousands of millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, hold, and maintain it. May we completely realize the true mind of all Buddhas. Good evening. Tonight, we were originally going to have Malintha Waminchita come in and give us some poetry for Vesak Part 2, but apparently that will not be happening. But fear not, I will have something to say to you regardless. Now, Vesak is an interesting holiday in the Buddhist calendar because it's celebrated differently and at different times. In Japan, it's like April 8th, I guess, is the Buddha's Enlightenment Day, or is that the December 8th? I forget. I don't know. One of them, April 8th, December 8th. One of them's Buddha's birthday. The other one is Buddha's awakening. In the Theravadan countries, such as Sri Lanka, for example, it was celebrated May 5th this year. And as we celebrate Vesak, they do also, which is marking the Buddha's birth, awakening, and death. And then in Korea and other places, it was celebrated just a couple of days ago, and it was celebrated as the Buddha's birthday. So Vesak, for us, marks birth, enlightenment, and parinirvana. The awakening part is obviously the one that most of us are involved with practicing Buddhism. Now, in July, in the beginning of July, there are a number of us who will be taking precepts. And the precepts, for those of us who don't know, are basically guides for ethical living. I tie that into Vesak because if the Buddha himself weren't observing what turned out to be the 5 precepts and more precepts later, then odds are he probably wouldn't have become the Buddha. I don't think very many of us would be able to awaken without observing at least the 5 precepts. And the way precepts work in Buddhism is that you have the 5 foundational precepts that everyone takes, starting with lay practitioners, and then you add more precepts on and more precepts on and more precepts on, and then you go through bodhisattva precepts, you go through priesthood precepts, you go through bhikshu or monastic precepts, and they all have various levels of ways to live an ethical life and what that might entail. But the 5 basic ones, the 5 grave precepts they're often referred to, we do them a little differently than a lot of orders or a lot of sanghas. A lot of sanghas, like the first precept is, do not kill. Some make that a little grayer and say, refrain from killing. Which is your basic, don't do this. It's almost a little commandment-y that way. And one thing that the precepts are not are the equivalent of the Judeo-Christian Ten Commandments or rules of Leviticus. They're not, don't do this. If you do, you're burning in hell for all eternity. No. Ours aren't like that. So for us, the first precept, our order, our Sangha, says, I vow to support all living creatures and refrain from killing. It's do this. And if you do this, then you won't be doing that. I vow to respect the property of others and refrain from stealing. Okay, I'm not taking what isn't given to me. I'm respecting that it's yours. Vow to regard all beings with respect and dignity and refrain from objectifying others. In some sanghas, some orders, that's don't have illicit sexual relations. Ours is a little bit broader, obviously. We're talking about not objectifying others, not setting up the me and you aspect of it so much as we're respecting the other person, but we're also respecting ourself. We're not seeing the other person as an object of lust. We're seeing them on even footing. I vow to regard all beings with respect and dignity and refrain from objectifying others. Get it? We don't objectify. We respect others as if they were ourselves. I vow to be truthful and refrain from lying. Okay, that's pretty easy. If you're telling the truth, then by its very nature, you're not lying. It's pretty much a 1 and 0 on-off binary thing. If you're telling the truth, you're not telling any lies. But we suggest that you tell the truth. And that turns into not lying. And the fifth precept is that we vow to maintain a clear mind and refrain from harming myself or others with intoxication. Some orders say, don't drink or use drugs. Some say, do not indulge in intoxicating substances which produce heedlessness. There's any number of levels of it. Personally, I'm, one of those people that says, okay, I don't drink, I don't take drugs. Period. That's my end of it. That's the way I maintain my mindfulness, how I maintain being heedful. Other people, it is a little grayer with, and that's fine. Some people can have that glass of wine with dinner. Some people put up their feet and have a beer and watch the football game on Sunday, and it doesn't distract from their being mindful. Now, you could say this is all a little bit fuzzy, especially on that last one. Some of them are pretty, like I said, binary, on or off, true, false, truth, lying, that kind of thing. 3 and 5, they can be a little fuzzy sometimes. You know, the whole illicit sex thing and the whole, indulging in intoxicating substances things. Some people have varying degrees of gray in there. And that's okay. One thing that you'll see about the precepts is that if you don't follow them, it's not like you're going to burn in hell. But it's not like there won't be any consequences either. There's karma involved in all of our actions. And as to when that karma is manifested and in what way, I don't know. If I go out and get drunk and wrap my car around a tree, the karma may be pretty apparent and pretty instantaneous. If, however, I don't know, kill somebody, let's get 2 precepts knocked out of the way at the same time, there will be karma involved in that also. Not only about the breaking the precept against intoxication and not being mindful, but also the refrain from killing part. Again, pretty immediate. There are others that, maybe you tell a little lie here, and it's not like there's going to be that cosmic lightning bolt smiting you. But that may set in motion a wheel of other actions that will be manifest. And notice that we say refrain from, not, do not. Refrain from killing. The other thing about the precepts and whether you observe them strictly or give a little gray area to them is that, excuse me, depending on situation, relationship, and function, there may be times where breaking the precept is actually correct action. In the Lotus Sutra, for example, excuse me, there are some kids, they're in a burning building, and the Buddha, in order to get them out of the building, which is on fire, which will cause them great harm, he tells them, oh, there's this really cool cart outside. You should really come out and check it out. And technically, he lied to them. Bottom line in that, binary yes, no, 1, 0, true, false, he told them a falsehood. But in that case, that was correct function in that situation. The idea of the precepts is that we lead an ethical life, not only for ourselves, and that, we get the reward of good karma and, we avoid getting the bad karma, but we observe precepts for all beings. We observe them so that every sentient being can be led towards awakening to our own personal Vesak, our own collective Vesak, our awakening. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to observe the precepts, but if you're interested in awakening, I'd say there's probably no downside in observing the precepts if awakening is what you're interested in. And for me, that's certainly why I started with this. Now it's a little bit different. But in order for all sentient beings to awaken, there's no downside in our observing the precepts. And in July, some of us will be taking them. Some of us will be taking an additional 5 for the Bodhisattva precepts. But we take them not just for ourselves, not to get some points or not to avoid getting yelled at, but we do it for the sake of all beings. So we'll go back and have another 15 minutes of seated meditation. chant the Heart Sutra. Mahaprajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceives that all five skandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth, until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, no suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The bodhisattva depends on prajna paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on prajna paramita and attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So proclaim the prajna paramita mantra. Proclaim the mantra which says gate gate para gate parasamgate bodhisvaha gate gate para gate parasamgate bodhisvaha gate gate para gate parasamgate bodhisvaha. We'll do our personal dedications of merit. I have a few names, and I'll leave some space for you to add some folks of your own to whom you would like to dedicate personal merit. All sentient beings are one seamless body and pass quickly from birth to death. Remember those who cared for us and are gone, those who are ill, those who are at war, who are hungry and who are in pain. May they heal and have peace. We especially dedicate our service to Laura Haas Knox, Perry, Mike Gingy Wood, Mrs. Guy. If you would like to add someone in now.
Sarah.
Anyone
Bailey
else?
and Joanne Sheridan.
Iris McDonald.
Any
All
others?
those suffering from war in Russia and the Ukraine.
Any others? All beings in 10 directions subject to the greed, hatred, and delusions of themselves and others. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattva, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Maha Prajna Paramita. And we will now recite our faith in practice vow. I will never retreat and will be firm in my mind in this correct Dharma. I will escape from the samsaric cycle of birth and death and definitely will see my original face. I will be sure to inherit the life of insight of the Buddha and save all sentient beings. Hangdal.
Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. Birds and trees and stars and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We practice and recite this for all beings in grateful thanks to our many guides along the way.
Life and death are of supreme importance. Time passes swiftly by and opportunities to awaken are easily lost. Strive to realize your true nature. Do not squander your time by night or day. I'll extinguish some candles.